You could go and get a Philly cheesesteak, a relatively basic sandwich, for this price right here? I don't think so. I think it should be this instead. That is but cheaper. So a great Philly cheesesteak, as we've seen in our Philly cheesesteak episode, is actually quite simple. Beef, onion, maybe, salt, pep, cheese, and sometimes mayo and ketchup. You put it in a bun and that's it. It's such a basic sandwich, but naturally the price is a little bit higher because it has steak in it. Expensive steak. Does it have to be expensive? What do you think, brother? This is the one sandwich where you can leverage technique to make a cheap cut of meat taste unbelievably good. So with all that being said, let's make this, shall we?
This sandwich ain't just dummy cheap. It's slap your knee, rip your pants off, and call your grandma easy. Of course, there is the aspect of bread. Sure, yes, hoagie bread. If you can find some already made for cheap, then great. But it turns out making your own hoagie bread can be relatively simple, and you can flex on your friends and family with it. You made bread, and therefore you're more powerful. So get yourself 1 cup or 240 milliliters of whole milk at 95 Fahrenheit, whisk in 2.5 teaspoons or 8 grams of instant yeast, and 2.5 tablespoons or 33 grams of granulated sugar. Separately, whisk together 3 cups or 450 grams of all-purpose flour and 1 teaspoon or 3 grams of fine sea salt till combined. Now you can do this by hand, but if you use a stand mixer, transfer the flour mix to the bowl of that. Turn on to medium-low, pour in your yeasty milkies, followed by 2 whole eggs. Now, if kneading by hand, at this time you'll also add a 1/4 cup or 58 grams of vegetable oil and mix that together till smooth. But if you're using that stand mixer, I prefer to let this knead until combined and starting to smooth out, and then I'll add a 1/4 cup or 58 grams of unsalted softened butter, allowing that to fully incorporate until you have a smooth and supple dough, which is about 5 minutes of kneading. Now roll into a rough ball, place in a separate medium grease bowl, cover with plastic wrap, and rise for 1 hour. Fart and burp your dough, turn it onto a work surface, cut it into 6 even pieces, about 145 grams each. Roll those into light balls, cover with a damp towel, and rest for 10 minutes. After that, roll those bad boys into 7-inch logs, increasing pressure towards the ends to taper into pints. Place it on a parchment-lined baking sheet and repeat with the rest. Once they're all done, cover those and let them proof for 25 minutes at room temperature, then gently brush with egg wash consisting of 1 whole egg beaten with a splash of water till combined. Once they're all brushed, top each of those with a light sprinkling of sesame seeds to coat the tops. Give them a light slash about 1/4 inch deep with a razor across the entire top of the dough. Slam that brother into an oven set to 375 for 13 to 15 minutes or until they look like a hoagie roll from a goddamn cartoon. Golden brown, ideally. Now let those cool completely on a wire rack, and that's your bread. So as they say, get that blank, get that bread, and leave. The actual sandwich is very, very basic. Usually we'll use ribeye, but the cheapest steak isn't just the chewy stuff, all right? There's another one out there that's, well, marbled and tender. And it's the chuck blade steak. Many butchers will have it, you just gotta ask. Get 2 pounds or 900 grams of that stuff, make sure it's boneless, and slice it against the grain no more than 1/4 of an inch thick. If you can go thinner, then great. Freezing the meat for about 25 minutes before slicing will help you get it thinner if your knife is dull. Now, the rest of this happens real quick, so get your buns ready. Split the hoagie, leaving a little bit of a back piece attached to keep it all together, and sure, you can toast it, but this is beautiful and warm from the oven, so I'm just gonna go straight into giving both sides a nice smear of mayonnaise. And then to cook your buff, either get a plancha or a large cast iron pan nice and hot over medium-high, coat it with just enough oil to coat the bottom, add in 1 diced sweet onion, hit that with salt to taste, and let that cook until it's just barely beginning to soften, but you got some nice color going on. Now add all of your beef. If there's not enough room, you're gonna need to do this in batches. Spread it out so it gets full contact with the heat source, and let that sear for about 2 minutes or until it starts to get some nice browning. Flip, repeat on the other side, and then once it's cooked nicely, but still juicy, it's thin, okay? It's gonna get cooked through quickly, which means it will dry out quickly, so pay attention here. Chop it with a wooden spoon or a metal spatula, tossing both the meat and the onion together to incorporate evenly. Now gather 1/6 of your meat in a mound that's roughly the shape of your bread, so like a skinny football. Layer on 1 slice of provolone and 1 slice of white American cheese. Oh my God, he's using American cheese. Yeah, you know, it's something that they do in Philly, all right? You know, usually it's a one or the other thing, but if you don't want to make decisions that day, then do both. I also doubled up on the cheese here, which was a little too much, so don't do that. Now, once the cheese is melted, pick that up with your spatula, load up your sandwich, and I'll be damned. That is a beautiful looking Philly cheesesteak with no frills. And who knows, you know, maybe the people of Philly are looking at this like,
hey, what are you doing with the goddamn sandwich? This is a culture you're messing with.
What do you think about that Philadelphia accent? Not very good, huh? Okay, very sorry about that. That being said, hopefully this makes up for any wrongdoings with a great price, but no loss of flavor. So let's find out.
Wow, this looks a lot like our other Philly cheesesteak. There's some small modifications to make it a lot cheaper. I'm a good sandwich. Yeah. I'm having flashbacks. When we went to Philadelphia, all the disappointments. so many. This is a resolution to those disappointments. It is delicious. It has all the textures you want. It's cheesy, it's rich, it's fatty. A lot of time people think, oh, you have to get this tough piece of meat that has no flavor and it's not juicy and has no fat in order to save money on a steak.
Are you serious?
One of the quickest ways to make a steak tender is cut it thin. And guess what, brother? That's this Philly cheesesteak right here. This is everything that I would want in a Philly cheesesteak, and I genuinely don't feel much of a difference between this and the other one. It's faster, cheaper. What more do you want? I know what you want. You want B-roll.